Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now on today's episode, I've got bench press today and some Yukon yoke walks I'm going to do back and forth across the bullpen. So pretty good, decent evening right now, fair temperature, but as it starts to get dark, it's going to get really cold. So I got to be really careful. And as I'm going up in the weight today and I'm working out, I'm also going to be discussing some secret hacks you could do in order to lift heavy every single week. Because sometimes when you use the same implement over and over again, your body gets used to it and it starts to plateau and you actually start to go backwards in progress. So how do you combat that? Well, I'm about to reveal my secret for that. So let's pop into today's workout, see what we got going on. Now, before I go over all my secrets and I give everybody out there free secrets of mine, I'm going to go over the workout real quick. It's going to be the bench press, but I've added those chains on there. And what that does is it makes it a lot heavier at the top of the lift and lighter at the bottom of the lift. And those are about 45 pounds in chains. The chain that is holding the drop down chains is 2.5 pounds each, making it 5 pounds total on the bar the entire time. But the drop down chains are 40 pounds decompressed. But as I go up in weight on the bench press, I'm going to keep the same weight on the Yukon yoke walk. So I'm just going to keep going back and forth the bullpen like that. But after I'm done with the strength giant set, then I'm going to add more weight to the Yukon yoke walk, which you'll see in a minute. And that's going to be the simple strength giant set for the day. Now, if you're like me and you just want to lift big weights every single time you get into the gym because you hate starting over, going back up, that's actually perfectly fine. That's how I like to train. I like to go into the gym and I like to challenge myself in strength every time I come in. But if you continue to use the same barbell and the same old rep scheme over and over again, eventually you're going to plateau or you're going to start going backwards in progress. So the secret to that and the secret to keep lifting heavy is to switch out your implements as much as you can. That's why today I'm doing chains. And then the next time I lift, I might use an axle bar or a multi-grip bar for the bench press. This always keeps my body guessing and I never really get comfortable with anything. So I'm always able to push myself. And since it's not working the same exact movement and the same exact muscle fibers, it's now activating different muscle fibers. Now I'm able to lift heavier a lot more often. For some people, they don't like to go in and do this. They like to stick with the same old weight, work up to the same weight, and then they like to bodybuild after that. And that's perfectly fine. If that's what keeps you going to the gym, I have no problem whatsoever of anybody doing what they love to do. For me, I love going into the gym right now in this current point in my life, and I like to lift heavy because I know eventually, as I get older, that might have to stop. So I like to go in there and to challenge myself every single time. And I can challenge myself if I keep switching out the different implements. Now, on a side note, if you're worried about me bench pressing all by myself, can you see those long safety bar catches off to the side of my bench there? That actually saves my life a lot. If I ever miss a weight, then all I have to do is just roll the weight back towards my neck and those weights will catch it. And those things can hold a lot of pounds. I've personally tested it to see how much pounds it could take. And trust me, it can hold a lot more than anything that I can lift. And I might be giving you a touch of foreshadowing for what's to come later. Now I'm coming up to my 1 working rep max, which is just shy of my 1 rep max. I like to kind of just see with 320 on the bar plus those 40-pound chains to see how well this moves. And even though that looked good on camera, I actually wasn't really feeling that good. But the thing is, my left pec wasn't hurting. And that's usually what hurts when I start to lift heavy. And it was feeling pretty good. So I felt comfortable going up to 390 pounds total. About 350 on the bar, plus those 40-pound drop-down chains. But you can see that I missed it there. And no, I'm not dying or choking or anything like that. Those safety bar are saving my life once again. And I had to weasel my way out of there. Now, what I decided to do, just to kind of save my workout, is I decided to take off the chains and put 315 on the bar and do a back off set. I've seen powerlifters do this. And I've never really done this before because I kind of just like to rip the muscle as much as I can on the heavier sets and not go back down. But in strongman, sometimes you have to go for reps. So I kind of thought maybe that might be a beneficial way to train. And I must say, I actually ended up doing the most amount of reps I've ever done with 315 pounds before. My max has ever been 3 reps total. But I did 4 today. And I was very happy with that. I should have racked it there, but you know me, I was like, maybe I could squeeze out a 5th rep and really make myself happy. But again, I had to weasel my way out of there again in disgrace and not die, as those safety catches saved my life. So I moved on to the secondary giant set, and against my better judgment, I probably shouldn't have gone as heavy as I did on the incline bench press. I think in the future, I'm just going to do with the chains for the strength giant set. I'm going to do a backup set as the secondary motion and not do the incline bench press. That'll only be on my straight flat bench press without any chains on or any other resistance, because this ended up being a very bad decision. So you can see for my third set here, I was doing 275 pounds, which is a really good weight. I'm not knocking this at all, but my right pec started to tear very slowly, and I kind of felt it right there. I thought, oh boy. So I could have gone for a 6 rep, but I just racked it back because I was too scared of tearing that pec. So my right side's hurting instead of my left now. Go figures, right? So I just moved on to the assistance giant sets. What I was doing is I was carrying that yoke, and now I'm going to go for a maxed yoke walk. So I'm going to be adding weight every single time I keep going up. And you can see here for 430 pounds, I actually forgot to put my belt on. I was wondering why it kind of felt heavier than usual. And then I realized, oh, I'm not wearing a belt. But it actually is pretty good that I'm not wearing a belt, because that means I was comfortable picking that weight up. So there you go. I put my belt on finally, being smart about this lift. So I was just going to try to see what felt good. You can see those weights are swinging like crazy, which makes it actually a whole lot harder. It really tears your abs apart when they swing like that. But I felt comfortable enough to go up to 600 pounds. And the thing is, that bar was actually stretching out my right pec. So it was actually feeling pretty good. And I was able to, when it's not swinging around so crazy like that and destroying my abs, but I was able to move it with ease. It actually felt pretty good. So this actually went very well, and I was very glad that I did this. But as I was going up in weight, I was just doing some hand release push-ups, because on that 390-pound chain deadlift, I realized that I wasn't moving very fast through the middle, which means that from my chest to the sticky point, which is the middle, my triceps need to take over. But I didn't get there fast enough, so that means I need to be quicker off the chest. And hand relief push-ups are the best things to do that. Once I was done with that, I immediately moved on to the accessory giant set, which was 3 rounds, just trying to burn out my triceps. So I was just doing high repetitions with the band with the tricep pushdowns. And then I was also doing the pec flies with a very light band as well. Just trying to pump some blood into that pec, so that way it isn't going to get injured and it can heal a lot faster if I could just pump some blood there. And of course, face pulls, because you know me in face pulls. I'm always going to do face pulls at the end. Great for shoulder health. If you're not doing face pulls, I don't know what's wrong with you. You really need to be doing face pulls. And that was the entire workout for the day. Whew, I am exhausted. But my chest got a beating, and the rest of my body got a beating with the Yukon walks that I missed. So this was an ultimately great workout. I'm really glad I did it. The sun's going down. It's time to pack it up and start some festivities of my own. Really appreciate everybody stopping by, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.